When I was 14 years old, I went for my learner's license and I passed my license by the grace of God. But then I had to do an eye exam. So I put my head into a machine and, uh, and I told the gentleman, I can't see anything. You gotta focus this machine. And he told me, you need to get glasses. So I went to the eye doctor, and sure enough, I needed to get glasses. And wow, it was amazing how well I could see. I couldn't believe that at the back of the restaurant, I could read the menu at the Dairy Queen restaurant. There was cause for rejoicing and excitement, not just for me, but for the people around me. In the first reading from the prophet Jeremiah, the people are returning from the Babylonian exile, and there is cause for rejoicing. And even the blind and the lame are joining in on the rejoicing. And we have to admit that at times we don't have the best vision. In other words, we are blind. And what I mean by that is we don't always have the eyes of faith. We don't always see things as we ought to see them, or see them through the lens of Jesus Christ. And so we have to constantly ask for the gift of faith. We have to constantly ask to see, the world, to see others, and even ourselves with the lens of Jesus Christ. And then we are lame at times in the sense that we are weak, and we have to call upon the strength of God. And what a great gift it is that God will always respond when we are weak. God will always come to us when we are weak. And we may not be healed of everything, but God will encourage us to be compassionate with others. Now, in the gospel reading, Bartimaeus, even though he's blind, he has a better vision of faith than the rich young man from 2 Sundays ago and James and John from last Sunday. First, the rich young man, he has lots of enthusiasm, the same as Bartimaeus when they approach Jesus, or he approaches Jesus. They all have the same excitement, and yet the rich young man is not able to give up his wealth. He's not able to give up his false god to follow Jesus. And yet Bartimaeus is able to follow Jesus. He recognized that not only will Jesus heal him, but he will continue to guide him in his life with new eyes. And then the other thing is that, James and John, like so many people, saw Jesus as a political and or a military figure. They wanted somebody who was going to be powerful and strong and bring about true justice. And yet Bartimaeus sees that Jesus is the one who has come to bring mercy, to bring healing, especially to those in need. This was his concept of a Messiah. This is the concept of the Messiah in the Old Testament scriptures, and this is the Messiah that we meet in Jesus Christ. And what a great gift it is. But of course, there are times when we probably come to Jesus with a certain ailment and we plead, maybe the same way that Paul, is pleading to remove the thorn in his side, help me, or heal me. And we go to all kinds of doctors. We do all that we can through the medical profession and maybe through other means to be healed, and yet we're maybe even worse off. Mentally, we're maybe even worse than we were before. But really, this gospel, we have to flip it around, and we have to remember that we have to be like Christ. We have to be instruments of healing towards others. Our world needs people who bring God's healing to others. Sometimes it's just simply listening to someone. Sometimes it's just a word of encouragement to someone. Sometimes it's just simply being present with someone. So we can use our ailments to help us to be compassionate with others. Now, I'm not saying that it's always easy, but through the process of receiving grace upon grace, we can be instruments of healing towards others. I also like the fact that Jesus gives Bartimaeus a free choice. What do you want me to do for you? And God, we could believe that God asks us every day. And so we can always, invite God into our day, invite God into whatever we are facing, and know that God is there to both give us the eyes of faith and also the strength to carry out what we need to carry out. So as we gather around the table, Lord, may we look upon this Eucharist with eyes of faith and truly believe and trust that Jesus Christ is present to us in this special way, and may it encourage us to be compassionate with others, with the same attitude as our great high priest, with humility and gentleness.